Welcome. Here at Counseling Studio, the therapy or counseling sessions are free. If you have mental health questions, for example, depression, child development, relationships, drug and alcohol questions, or any concerns, type them in the comment section or private message me on Facebook. I left a link in the description of this video. Welcome. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing good.
Good.
Doing good. Yeah. Okay. Well, before we start, let's take about 3 deep breaths in and out. So let's go. So inhale. Exhale. One more or 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. All right. So you're doing okay?
Yeah.
All right. Can you take me back to the bullying?
The bullying?
Yes. So there's some things I want to kind of dig or bring up a little more. So in the beginning, so especially the beginning and the end. In the beginning, you said you wanted to escape.
Yeah.
And you also described wanting to be as small as you can on the inside. And on the outside, you wanted to be bigger. So, as in, because you wanted to escape, so you wanted to be smaller, to not be seen, to not be bullied, and you wanted to be bigger physically.
Yeah.
So you're doing a lot of just different exercises to make you stronger, to help you lose weight, to help you just appear or be just bigger, not be a target. So those are 2 different things. They're different. One, wanting to be smaller within, and without wanting to appear to be bigger. So I want you to try, if you can, to dig a little bit more into that thinking, because also what you experienced or what you carried for almost 4 years at such a young age is big. So let's start there, and then let's try to get to the end of the bullying where you were completely ignored.
Yeah.
Because
new batch of kids.
yes, but you used the word ignored, completely ignored, and you said that it was weird, which it would be, for it to just change. Yes. So, okay. So let's start with, now I do want to tell you, I do understand. You told me different reasons why you carried it on your own. You didn't want your parents to come and embarrass you. You didn't tell your brother because you felt it was your thing to carry, your fight, as you said. Although he was also 2 grades above, so you didn't see him often. However, you were in the same school. So let's just, if you can, if you will, dig into those feelings, the thinking. Bring yourself back. So take yourself back to that place where inside, you wanted to escape. You wanted to be as small as possible, but on the outside, you wanted to appear more in control, or more like physically just stronger, bigger. So dig into that escape and that smallness.
So, being small, as in, basically, you know how kids, you're supposed to sit in the front seat, answer the teacher's questions, raise your hand, you know, whenever you have the answer. But to be completely small mentally is to be like you're not even there, so that people will just forget you're even there. So, for me, it felt like, you know, like the classroom, right? And I should just sit in the corner, you know, somewhere where the teacher wouldn't, you know, really, you know, pick my name because they wouldn't really see me. They'd see the kids that are in front. So either, you know, the back of the class, you know, the side corners of the back of the class, and that was like a move to just stay completely ignored. Well, try to, yes. So that was, you know, being small for me.
But so you're describing though more of a physical smallness, but within, because wanting to escape, that word, wanting to escape and be small, like that's like curling. That's like going into a ball. That's being just within. It's like being alone. Escape.
Yeah.
So what was going on in your mind at that age, like to think of that word, escape, to think of that?
From a young age, I like understood that I'm gonna be alone most of my life. You know, that's, you know, sat fine with me. People come and go. But like, you know, I've also understood that, you know, it's my responsibility to, you know, take care of myself. Because, you know, if you're gonna, you know, those were the thoughts that were going through my mind when I'd be alone, you know, just trying to stay away from class. Because I wouldn't really even be present in class.
You wouldn't be present?
No, I wouldn't. Like, I'd be, you know, my mind would be elsewhere. I'd be daydreaming in class. I wasn't really paying attention.
Is that because of the bullying you were experiencing?
Yeah.
Was just
So my head would be completely somewhere else, you know, when the teacher would pick on me, I'd be like, I don't know. And so even in class, I'd be thinking about like how I'm gonna deal with this, and like just telling myself things that, you know, you shouldn't really be telling yourself. Like, you know, you're gonna be alone for, you know, the rest of your life really, so you have to take care of yourself. You know, no one's gonna come after you, no one's gonna, you know, take care of you. It's your responsibility only to take care of yourself.
what started that? Thinking you have to take care of yourself, you're gonna be alone. How did those thoughts start?
So that started the same day where, you know, I was at the playground, right? And all the bullies came up to me, and then my teacher came and stopped it, right? I understood that day that if the teacher wasn't there, they probably would have beaten me up. But, you know, it was by chance that the teacher was there. He's not always going to be there, you know, to, you know, save my ass and stuff. So I was like, you know, he's not always going to be there. It's not always going to be, you know, where I get saved. It's not like that. There's going to be a time where, you know, something does happen, and which it did. So I just, you know, understood, like, you can't really rely on someone, you have to rely on yourself. So, yeah.
Were you looking for someone to save you?
I wasn't really looking someone to save me. I was more like trying to find someone that would relate to it. That's why I had that one friend, you know, we used to get bullied by the same group of people, so we just relate and stuff. But we didn't really think about, you know, saving each other. And plus I, you know, didn't really get to see him much because, you know, sometimes he was out of school, sometimes he wouldn't come and stuff. So, and it was very often that he didn't show up to school. So most of the time I was still there alone. But even then, whenever he came, he got bullied too. And then we talk about it and we'd see what happened. But it wasn't really like me trying to find someone to save me, because we never took the action of rebellion. Let's do something instead. And get revenge on these guys.
Why didn't you?
Because there were like 5 of them. There was just 2 of us. So, yeah.
So, escape. And saving. Was talking to him a way of being saved? Did that give you, how did you feel talking to him? Did you
I
feel
felt relieved
relieved?
because I wasn't the one, the only one that was going through it. So talking about it actually helped. Even though I didn't want most of the people to know, what the issue is, but if there's someone that's going through the same thing as me, and I talk about it to them, and we can relate on the same thing, that feels so much more better than having to go tell your parents that this is going on, have them come to school, feel embarrassed. It's better to talk to someone who's also going through it.
So he's relating. You're feeling relieved.
Yeah.
In a way, it's a moment of saving because you're relieved.
Yeah.
You're not. Did you feel relieved in a sense of, for those moments you weren't carrying all that energy, all that stress from being bullied?
No, it was still there, but
Still
it was
there.
more like I'm relieved that I'm not the only person going through it, and that there is someone who I didn't see much, but there was at least someone that was going through something.
How else you wanted to escape?
Yeah.
Did you ever think of ways of escaping besides the physical thing? This is something
Yeah.
inside. You try to solve the physical, try to lose weight, do things like that. But within the escape part, that through the whole time of being bullied, was that something on your mind
Yeah.
constantly?
I would make up scenarios in my head, why? What if I tried this? What if I did that? What if I beat them up instead? I become this big, and I learn how to fight and stuff. And, so I'd go on YouTube and stuff. I'd search up some MMA fighter or some judo stuff. That's where I found this one fighter, Kimbo Slice, passed away. And I saw his fights and stuff. I was like, damn, this guy's huge. So yeah, no, it started from there.
And I remember you told me that you were able to talk to your mother about anything. You felt
Yeah.
that way.
But that was more recently. Back then, I wouldn't really talk to my parents
When you were
when I was young.
younger. Okay. Because bullying, there's a lot of emotions that are involved in bullying, as you know.
Yeah.
An emotion you had that was a constant thing of wanting to, the feeling of escape.
Yeah.
And at that young of age, to carry that and not tell your parents, not
Yeah.
tell an older brother to try to help you escape that. To just hold on to that dream of escaping somehow,
Yeah.
some way. And just carrying that for years. Why didn't you try to bring that word, that escape, or that, why didn't you bring that out? Like, create something. You were thinking of ways to have this bullying, to take it off you so you don't have to carry it
Yeah.
anymore. So you can escape. So you can feel relieved. So why didn't you bring that out into the physical world? Like where it can be physically,
Yeah, implied.
Like- yes.
So back when I was younger, right, I used to overthink a lot of things. I still do.
Overthink.
Yeah. So these imaginations that I used to have of, me, doing this and that to, get rid of the bullies, I started thinking about like, all right, what if I put it into action? What if I actually did it? And I would, think about the consequences that would happen later on. Because it's one idea I had is, when one of the bullies would go to the bathroom, I'd start, beating him up and stuff. And I just leave him there, right? And then his friends would see it and they'd get scared. That's what I thought. But then I started thinking about like, this is a school with, the teacher's gonna see the kid, and then I'm gonna be the one that's in trouble. Because most of the teachers didn't even know that was happening in their school. So it would be pretty random to them. So I was always thinking about, the consequences and stuff.
So you were still, just willing to carry it,
Yeah.
hoping that it would, as you said before, magically.
Disappear, like dissolve.
When you were, before you went to sleep, because as we get ready to sleep,
Yeah.
we start thinking about the next day. Can you tell me about any of those times as you're being bullied, like the thoughts you had of as you're falling asleep, thinking about you have to face this again tomorrow morning when you wake up?
You want my most honest answer?
Yes.
I'd be thinking about, the nearest exits and stuff
Exits
of the school.
of the school
Yeah.
to just escape,
Just run away.
run away.
And how I'd get back home if, things actually got really messy. So I'd be in bed, I'd be thinking about, all the stairwells and what fire exits there are in school, what way I'm going to take home, how am I going to get there, where am I going to get the money for the bus back home, all that. And I've pretty much memorized my entire school. So, and even the way back, from my school all the way, back to my home. And I'd just be thinking about that. Because you never know when, things can go wrong. So I'd be thinking about that. And basically, like, how it's going to happen again. Like, my predictions of the next day, of where the bully's going to take place.
That's a lot to deal with, a lot to think about. Yeah. So you just
So,
just lived it, just
yeah.
carried it, just. Do you have those experiences? Have they changed you in any way? Like, how did they change you? Did they change you What positives out of that have you taken, and what negatives have you seen, if any?
So the positive things that I've gotten from all this bullying is that it sort of forced me into like losing a bunch of weight, forced me to be more mentally tough, not be so sensitive and stuff. And
Do you think you were being why sensitive? You were being bullied.
Yeah.
So why do you say
Every time
not
I used
to
to
be
get
so
bullied,
sensitive?
I just wanted to cry.
you wanted to
Right, but I grew up with the mentality with like boys don't cry, they're not supposed to cry and
Who
stuff.
gave you that mentality?
My father did.
Your father did.
Yes.
Okay.
Even my grandfather.
Your grandfather
Yeah.
told you what?
So this one time when I was in Pakistan, I was really young,
Mm-hmm.
and so he has a shop, right, which is now closed because he's old, and basically used to have like candies and stuff. There was one time he said no to me to get candies from there, and I started crying, and he was like, "Oh, boys aren't supposed to cry," and that just stuck to me, and then I just kept remembering boys.
At what age was that?
I was like 7, 8. So yeah, that stuck with me as well. And then my dad, every time I cry, whenever we used to get into fights and stuff. When I was young, I used to cry, and he'd be like, "Oh, boys aren't supposed to cry. You're a man. You're not a little boy. You're not a girl. You're not supposed to cry."
So at a young age, there were male role models in your life.
Yeah.
Your father and grandfather were telling you not to cry. They were telling you to carry it.
Yeah.
So is that a positive thing or a negative thing to have to carry your emotions, not to release them or let them go?
It's both. It's a gift and a curse, because it makes you mentally strong, right? So the reason why I feel like there are many school shooters nowadays is that they act on impulse and their emotions and stuff. They just set it off really quickly. But if you have that mental toughness to control your emotions, you'll be like a very stoic person. You don't really let your feelings dictate what you do. You think off of logic and stuff. But the negatives that come with it is that you're no longer emotionally available, I guess you could say. They're, to some extent, when it gets really bad, normal human emotions, right? You're no longer able to feel them, like sympathy and stuff like that. So it has its ups and downs, and pros and cons.
So is sympathy something that you feel has been lessened?
Yes. Because for me, I don't really...
For yourself or other people? Or for both?
Everyone.
Everyone as in you and
Me
yourself included?
Yeah.
Less sympathy for yourself?
Yeah. Because every time, I'm in like a bad position and I'm upset, I keep telling myself there's people out there who are, way worse than you, suck it up and stuff. And then that mentality, is somewhat dispersed onto, people around me as well, which isn't a good thing. But it rarely happens, but it gets to a point where you're like, this person is, they're going through something that isn't supposed to be a big deal for you, but it's a big deal for them. But then you forget, to sympathize with them because you've probably been through it, but they probably haven't. So then you're like, oh, suck it up,
So carry it.
Yeah.
Suck it up. But then you lose sympathy for people and yourself. Yourself. Most is
Most of the time.
yourself first. Is that first for you?
Yeah.
Sympathy is less, it starts with you? So compassion. Sympathy is also having compassion, or maybe being vulnerable, or being a little, maybe even possibly a little weak at times.
Yeah.
Did the bullies have any sympathy for you? Did you ever see?
No. Because if they did, they would have, stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a sympathetic way, instead of, just being ignored. So I never really thought there was any sort of sympathy there. It was just like, them getting bored and stuff, so.
Now, so we have some new words now. We have our ability to be sympathetic is lessened. And we still have this carrying. We're carrying our emotions. We're sucking it up. We're not we're trying to be a man, or what your grandfather has told you what a man should do, or your father has told you what a man should do for your family, or for your culture, your family culture. And you said there's positive and negatives with that.
Yeah.
Do you think this is something you want? Now this may be however far down the road.
Yeah.
But is this something you want? Your experiences with bullying and carrying it and wanting to escape, but also not having sympathy for yourself. Do you think not having sympathy for yourself, or enough sympathy for yourself, did you not allow yourself to escape?
No, I always wanted to escape, but I'd be like, whenever I want to be like, whenever I want to feel sorry for myself, like, I feel sorry that I have to go through this. I tell myself I'm going through it anyways. Feeling sorry for myself isn't gonna make the situation any better. You still have to go through it, and you still gotta get out of it.
You still gotta get out of it, but
Yeah.
you sucked it up. You carried it. You didn't allow yourself. You sucked it up.
Yeah. I didn't allow myself to feel sorry for myself.
So for almost 4 years, it's a long time, especially when you're younger. Time seems to be moving
Slow.
differently. It's
Yeah.
slow. So that almost 4 years can seem,
10.
yes. Did you ever think about, you mentioned school shooters and things like that. Do you think that, did you ever have any thoughts about that?
No.
No.
I never had any violent thoughts towards normal, innocent people, or just towards the bullies, because they were, the pain in the ass. And I used to think like, you know, these people haven't done anything to me. Why should I, you know, hurt them? But that the thought did occur to me once when I was in school, when this shooting happened at this mall, and I was like, okay, so people do that as well out of anger. Well, I'm angry, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to hurt, you know, a bunch of innocent people.
So you did think about doing something pretty violent or shooting.
Not towards like
The bullies, though.
the bullies, yeah.
Yes.
Not shooting. I feel like I just wanted to beat them up, not, you know, end their life.
Did you think they wanted to end your life?
No.
You didn't think. What did you think? What did you think they were getting out of this?
Fun,
Fun?
satisfaction. Because, you know, they had, like, you could tell when someone's having fun beating someone up. They don't,
Well, how did they?
because
Tell me.
they'd be joking around while they're laughing, you know, just hitting me with the tissue balls and stuff. They're having a laugh while they're doing it. So it's fun for them. It's not really fun for me.
Was there a lot of verbal? I'm sure there might have been, but you can tell me. Was there a lot of verbal, like threats being thrown around,
I'm
names?
not sure, because whenever they used to cuss me out, they would cuss me out in Thai. So I wouldn't understand a word they were saying.
So did they
But
speak English to you at times, or was it
barely,
barely?
because they themselves didn't really speak that much English.
So they were, see, wow. So most of the time, you didn't even know.
What they were saying. There were moments where they were like translate. They were like, this one time, they were like, there was this phrase that says "palm die." That means your
What is
dad's
it
dead.
again?
Palm die. It's like, you know, your dad's dead. I was like, what does that mean? And then the short one in the group, he said, oh, it means your dad's dead. And then he says, I will kill your father.
I'll kill your father.
Yeah. I was like, it's pretty weirded out, man. I was like, okay.
Why do you say kill your father?
Because the phrase itself means your dad's dead.
Yes,
And
yes.
he was like, I'll kill your father.
But why say that to you? Why?
I have no clue. It's like a pretty common phrase too in Bangkok, in Thailand. And I know it wasn't, you know, them knowing about my, you know, life at home, because I never opened up about it. So that was like a little bit of like, you know, brush off the shoulder.
There was a lot going on. Physical, verbal. Also, in a way, not only are you carrying this by yourself and doing a lot of thinking
Yeah.
by yourself, this bullying, because of the language barrier, also was another, how they were communicating with you as they were bullying was also creating another way to be by yourself, because you can't even understand. It's like
Yeah.
you're alone, even in a conversation with
Yeah.
the bullies. That's another thing. That's a lot to deal with as a kid, to not even understand what the bullies are saying, what they're doing.
Barely understood a word.
How long have you been in Thailand?
I was born here.
You were born here.
I was born here. The
But
reason
you
why,
only had a little bit of the language?
yeah, because I went to an international school.
Yes.
And then I moved schools, and this was more like an English program school.
Mm-hmm.
So once I moved, it was like a whole different atmosphere. I was like, this is, completely different. Because international schools, they speak like English mostly. And like English program schools, they don't really speak that much, English.
Not as much English.
Yeah, not as much English.
So you have some students that can speak English and
Yeah, but they were like a handful.
a handful. Okay. All right. If we can move to a different point in the bullying, or we can, if you want to
Whichever